What's up everyone, hope you're doing well today. This week's video is going to recap everything that we saw from the Moments and the early stages of the Diamond Dynasty redo. Last week we started off again with a GameStop Monday video, which really detailed everything that was going to go on in Moments. And we also saw a lot of information in the dev stream, which was really good this week. And if you haven't seen it, this would be one that I would definitely recommend going into because it's very detailed and it's very exciting to see everything that they've got going on. As always, those links will be in the description, so definitely check them out. But since this video generally comes out a few days after all this stuff is finished and talked about from other YouTubers, I want to make sure that we really get into the details of what we're seeing here. But first of all, let's talk about the new cards that they showed us. So Kerry Wood, Mark Pryor, Cy Young, and Rogers Hornsby are all going to be new legends in the game next year. So all really cool cards. A couple of Cubs cards in there with Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor. So those two teammates might be some kind of dynamic duo going forward. And that Kerry Wood card will be one of the pre-order bonuses, along with the Curtis Granderson that we saw this year, as well as the rookie Ted Williams. And an 88 overall Tony Gwynn, which with contact hitters being viable, should be a much better card this year. Now they also showed us that there are going to be some new bat skins, so previously you could change the color of your bat and the barrel ring and things like that. But this year you're actually going to be able to put a little picture on top. So we saw one that was a hot dog, we saw one that was a bunch of diamonds. So some of these kind of look pretty cool. I don't know how useful these will be or if you'll be able to put them on multiple characters, but probably just for your created player and your Road to the Show player. And again, these are going to be cosmetic purchases / rewards. So you will have to buy these or earn them in some kind of program. We saw already the first bomber skin for the bat comes in the first program that we see. So we're going to see them throughout the year. They also mentioned that they're trying to make as many of these rewards sellable so that you can earn some of them in different ways. So if you're someone that likes to play online mostly and doesn't like to grind, you'll be able to pretty much buy all of these rewards if you can't grind for them. This also means that if you earn a reward that you don't really like, someone with a bad swing or just someone that outlives their usefulness in your lineup, you'll be able to get rid of them and sell them for a good price. But let's get into Moments. And Moments is pretty straightforward. If you've played NBA 2K or maybe Madden, you've seen the Moments mode in 2K, you've seen the Solos mode in Madden, so they're trying to move it in that direction. So you're going to see a lot of grinding coming through Moments, but not necessarily all of it. So it's not going to replace Diamond Dynasty missions, but it will account for a good portion. And Moments is pretty straightforward, so you kind of jump into a situation, for instance, Babe Ruth calling his shot, and you get to relive that moment. You see a little cutscene, you get a few stubs for completing it, and you can just keep doing it as many times as you want, but I don't believe you're going to earn any extra stubs. From what they showed us at one point, it looked like you get a good amount of stubs for completing a collection. For instance, the Babe Ruth program. In one of the videos it showed you get 10,000 stubs, but what we saw from the dev stream that it only goes up to about 1,500 or so. I would imagine they're going to add on to each program as the year goes on. So for now, all you can get is that low diamond Babe Ruth, the low diamond Willie Mays. These kind of cards are probably not in-game cards, so as we go through the year, maybe they'll add more and more to a specific player's program. Maybe we end up seeing a 99 Babe Ruth within the Moment section later on. But I did mention this Willie Mays card, and it is the rookie Willie Mays. He has a bit of a platoon split here, so early in the year this will probably be an okay card, but he's going to dominate against lefties and pretty average or below average against righties. But he will be a decent diamond for early in the year. His defense, he made a lot of errors in that rookie season, was below average in fielding percentage. So we'll see what kind of defense they give him, but should have solid speed, solid defense at least, and obviously very good against lefties. But the cool thing is that when you see these rewards for completing the collection of Moments, they aren't going to be the be-all end-all. So when you go into Diamond Dynasty, there's actually programs that take you back into Moments to get even better cards. So the first option when you do this program is actually going to be called the First Inning Program. And the reward for this when you get your 300 program stars is going to be a choice between Andrew Jones, Goose Gossage, and Cy Young. And again, these three guys will be sellable, so if you pick the wrong guy or someone that doesn't fit your lineup anymore, you will be able to sell him and maybe pick up one of the other guys. Along the way, you'll also get a bunch of stubs. For now, it says about 4,500, and you'll also get some more packs and some gold choice packs as well. The cool thing is that there are a bunch of missions pertaining to these three bosses that we see in the First Inning Program. But there's also going to be conquest missions, daily missions, and collection missions in order to get these 300 program stars. And by the way, there's going to be more than 300 program stars available for this mission. So kind of like we saw in 18 with those monthly missions, they would give us more than 100% to complete those missions so we could kind of choose what we wanted to do. We're going to see a little bit of that this year as well, and hopefully a lot more of it. where you have 300 stars required, but you have, let's say, 400 stars available, so you can do bits and pieces from different areas. Daily missions can be about 6 stars a day, so in the 3 to 4 weeks that you get a chance to do the first Sting program, you're going to be able to do probably about half or more just by doing daily missions. On top of that, the collection and conquest each give you 30 stars each, so if you really don't enjoy moments, you would only have to get 1/3 of your program stars from doing moments. But I have a feeling moments will be pretty fun, and honestly probably a very engaging way to do all these missions, so it will be worth playing it, especially early in the year. And if you're someone like me who really doesn't like grinding the market, every single stub at the beginning of the year is going to help. So apart from moments, they also talked about the paradigm shift within Diamond Dynasty and some of the quality of life improvements that they made. So let's talk about the paradigm shift first of all. One of the biggest issues from last year was trying to get all these exchanges done. And not only did it take so many stubs to get rid of those exchanges, also it was very tedious. Trying to buy 160 bronze hats for every single player was extremely annoying. So this year they will not have souvenirs at all, and there will be much fewer exchanges. So exchanges will still exist, but there will just be fewer of them. So that's good to see. I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. An interesting thing that they did is that they got rid of immortals completely. Keep in mind that the 125 attribute caps will still exist, but immortals will not. Many immortals last year did end up being overpowered, and unless you were a big grinder, it was a major hassle to obtain them. This year there will still be 125 cap attributes, but there shouldn't be any crazy OP cards because there will only be 1 year to calculate ratings rather than the best statistical year for each category. It'll be more like the cards from 17 but with more competitors at each position. So this means that a lot of the best cards from 18 will bump in overall by at least 1 or 2 points, since last year's actual 98 overalls will probably be 99s and so forth. They mentioned wanting to see a conversation for the best card at every position. So whereas last year, maybe with the second baseman, you could only really play a created player, or you were going to be at a severe disadvantage for a major part of the year, there should be a lot more options at every single position. Last year, if you didn't have Ted Williams, Babe Ruth, Ken Griffey Jr., and maybe Vlad or Trout, you were at a severe disadvantage in your outfield. This year, we're going to see maybe not as good overpowered cards like we saw with Griffey last year, but we will end up seeing a lot of cards that can compete with him, so maybe more like the finest cards, a bunch of different cards that kind of look like that. Immortals last year were just kind of one of those things where either you hated them or you didn't care about them. Nobody really loved Immortals in my opinion, and so that was a big reason why SDS just kind of said, okay, we don't need these guys, they're only going to cause problems, so they just chucked them out, and I think it was a good decision overall. The interesting one that we really didn't see coming was that there's going to be no ticket counter as well. The ticket counter used to be a great source to earn choice of cards by playing the game, but every year it's been a little bit different and unfortunately getting worse, redundant, and more disappointing. At the end of last year, we were kind of surprised that Yogi Berra was the only immortal in the ticket counter and they didn't add anyone else at the end. A lot of us had been saving up tickets and really didn't get to use them the way that we had hoped. So this year, we see that there's an XP reward path, which has not been discussed by the devs yet, but look for more info in about a week from now. And look for it to include choices for lower level cards and maybe cosmetic items as well, which would be kind of cool, maybe packs. It should feel like ticket counter rewards, except without all the extra steps, right? So when we used to earn tickets, it was basically alongside of XP as well. So it ended up being a little redundant. So it should make leveling up a little bit more rewarding, kind of like other games where you earn a loot box at every step. Obviously we don't have exactly loot boxes, but we do have packs. And we may see something, maybe some kind of small reward at every single time you go up a level in XP. And finally, there were a lot of quality of life improvements to the game for 19. So first of all, there's a small change in ranked seasons where as soon as you get to a certain level, your rewards will be earned as soon as you get there. So in previous years, you would have to wait until midnight of the first of every month to get your cards. But this year, it's going to be as soon as you get to that ladder. So if you get to World Series in 2.5 days, immediately you're going to receive your rewards. And since they're all going to be sellable, it's going to be super useful because you will get to determine the price for what you want to sell it for. And therefore, you're going to have more incentive to climb early, and maybe they'll add some more rewards at the end. We'll see what happens. They haven't talked about it too much yet. There will also be a new pack system, including choice packs and diamond packs. Ball and as a habit packs will also be available at the very beginning of the year, so it's very nice to see that they're changing it up. And you're also going to be able to view pack odds before you open a pack, so it'll take out the guesswork, avoid the shadiness of gambling on packs like it was in previous years. because the ability to pull a diamond was very, very low, and we had no idea what it actually was. We also see that there are going to be multiple lineups in 19, which is enormous for grinding. As a content creator, it's nice to have multiple lineups to be able to play different games, different squad builders with different people when we play viewer games. But at the same time, when you're playing Conquest or something like that, or grinding through some missions where you need to do a team builder, it's going to be super useful. Honestly, Immortals would have been much easier to obtain and not felt as bad to get if we had multiple lineups in 18, but hopefully it just streamlines everything, and something we've been asking for a long time, and it's something that they finally added to the game. And finally, they're also including some notifications into Diamond Dynasty. So if you go in and put up a buy order for a card, and then you go do something on your squad screen, and maybe you don't see that the card was purchased, this here on the top right, there will be an in-menu notification that pops up on the right, and it will say your buy order has been completed, and then you can go back and you don't have to go to the community market every single time you want to see if a card has been bought or sold. Also, if you press the touchpad on your controller, you'll be able to see a section for notifications on your left, kind of like in Road to the Show or Franchise where you can see your inbox. It'll be just like that for Diamond Dynasty. There will be also a few different notifications that you can turn on or off, depending on what you are interested in. So it should be a pretty useful tool. And before we end the video, I just want to mention something about the pre-order bonuses. Personally, I think I'm going to end up purchasing the $70 version, which includes some stubs, includes the free diamond, but it doesn't include the Ballin' as a Habit pack and a couple other things from the $100 version. I think it seems to be the best balance of money versus what you get for it in return. As someone who's probably going to be grinding the game a ton when the game comes out, I will be earning a good amount of stubs just from playing moments and things like that. Small amounts, but good amounts. And I probably won't be buying a ton of cards at the very beginning, at least not diamonds, for a ton of stubs. So I just want to say that if you are someone that grinds a good amount, you will probably be okay with just buying the $70 version. If you want to save those 30 extra bucks, you probably will be okay with that. If you're someone that does end up spending the money and doesn't end up grinding a ton and just wants to get into ranked seasons, play a ton online, go for that $100 version, it definitely will be worth it. But for grinders, it's probably not worth the marginal advantage. And finally, one last thing I want to say is something I reiterated last time, and that SDS has really put a lot of thought into every single section of the game this year. And I've heard a lot of people say that SDS doesn't care about the game. I go into the comment sections of some of the big YouTubers, and you see everybody in there saying, looks like the same game as last year, looks like they haven't done anything, haven't touched a certain mode or things like that. And it looks like every single mode that they've touched on has been really improved. I want to see what happens with Franchise, although I'm not a huge Franchise guy. I know it's kind of been a repeat over and over, so I want to see what they do with that. And you see all the improvements they made on just Road to the Show alone. And if you go into Diamond Dynasty and look at everybody's checklist of what needs to be in 19 and what needs to not be there, every single thing on that list is probably checked off for the most important things and things that everybody agrees on. So the amount of work that they've put in and really paying attention to what the community is interested in shows that they care, because they could have done about 50% of it and we would have said, okay, good enough. But really every single thing that we wanted to be touched on has been, and I really appreciate that. Hopefully the execution on this game is as good as we are seeing, because that could be really incredible. Now we won't know until the game comes out, we get our hands on it. But at the very least, I have reached the point of no return in terms of hype. And if it doesn't live up to expectations at this point, I will be kind of disappointed, because at one point, it was kind of like, okay, I'm not going to expect anything, but my expectations have been risen. Everything that's been said so far has been great, and I really hope it is an amazing game. If you have any more questions or comments, let me know in the comment section. If you have ideas about that XP reward path, which hasn't been talked about yet, let me know as well. They haven't gone into everything about Diamond Dynasty yet, so that will come in a couple weeks. We will get more details on missions and programs, and also card ratings. And this week, the GameStop Monday for the franchise information will be out, and we'll see what happens with March to October. I'm excited to see what goes on with that. But that's all I've got for you for today. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. If you liked the video, hit the like button, and I will see you next week.